Hello guys, my name is Larry from Bindao. I'll be walking you through the process of building your own agent with Brain framework using the Brain documentation. So, and also be showing you how to deploy with Docker on your droplets or however you want to deploy. So let's get started with by clicking get started. So we have the overview here. We have several plugins that you can use to build your agents, NIF, Wexland, Odos, Wiki, ATP, so many actually. And we have clients. Clients allows you to communicate with Discord, Telegram, or Twitter, depending on the client, exact client you want to use. We have the database adapter for SQLite and Postgres. But we'll get back to that much later. So let's go to the quick start. Oh, there are two ways to start your project, either by creating a new project from scratch or using the brain starter templates. So let's go with the brain starter templates. You go to your project file, open to your terminal, and copy and paste the code here. So now I can actually rename the project, but let's just call it my brain framework. No biggie. Allow that to load up. In the moment, then we seed into the yeah, we are in. So let's open VS Code. Give it a moment. VS Code will be up. While VS Code runs, let's do some installation. So now you can go with npm, pnpm, or yarn, but I prefer to use the pnpm install. Actually, just my own personal preference. You can go with whichever you want to use. So let's open to our project. So right from scratch, like we have your Docker file. If you want to configure it based on your preference, whatever you need. Okay, I guess it is still loading up. And then you have your index.txx, which is where your code will be written and your agent lives. Your starter, code file. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is your Docker file. Actually, we'll get back to this, but you can always configure this however you like. But let's skip to this. So now, right off, the templates we have, this code pre-written for you to show that, you know, we do actually. So now, first off, we open the terminal for you. Okay, I guess it's still loading the code base, but I can always do it from my terminal here. So we do npm install. So what this does is help you install your packages. Okay, installing. Okay, while that is installing, let's go to the next step, which is now this command help you run the code the agent. Now the thing is, you can either use this command or the docker start command. Actually, you build the docker file and then you start the container, if however you feel to handle that. It's just fine. So let's see load this. Okay, I guess that's fine. Okay, still this is still building. few moments later. So we have the installation complete. So let's just test run. Oh, just before that. So now, before I proceed, just remember to actually get your env file in the home directory. .env. Now, so when that is done, you can fill in your key value PS. Let me get mine and circle back. So before I proceed to that, okay, this is done. So let's go to let's I want to do something on ATP. Yeah, I want to do something on ATP. So now ATP plugin allows you to buy, sell, and manage agent token actually. So that's what it does. You can check your agent position. I mean your holding and checking your position, the value of what you got currently. Okay, yeah, these are the usage. Like these are sample queries that you can use with ATP. We have other ones like BAM and Co. But for this tutorial, I'll be using a combination of ATP, heartbeat, and sequencer. Actually, ATP, heartbeat, and sequencer. That's what I'll be using for this tutorial. So, where do I start? So, first of all, I install the plugin, the ATP plugin. Go to your code terminal. Oh, you can do that from here. I guess my VS Code is a bit slow today, so you can just run that, and then let's get the installation for heartbeat also. While that ATP is running, so same thing for heartbeat. You'd do same. Okay, I guess my VS Code is open now, so you can run the installation. So while that is running, let's get for sequencer. So what heartbeat does, okay, before I move to sequencer, what heartbeat does is it's basically a cron job. So heartbeat allows you to run queries instead of running it via the console. You can input your queries like this. So it sends the query to the agent, and then you can set the periodical frequency. That's the tautology, I guess. You can set the frequency or the period here, basically, and then the clients here handles. You can tell which client you want to handle it. So ATP can actually, Heartbeat can do more than just cron job. It can actually give an output. So you can tell it that, okay, I need you to post a joke, like in this case on Telegram, and give it a chat ID, and then it posts jokes every 30 seconds on the Telegram but you understand, same thing Twitter and all that. So that's basically what Heartbeat does. It's basically a cron job, but it allows you to work with Telegram, and you can also work with callbacks in case you don't want to use Telegram or Twitter actually. While sequencer is a selector for which agent to run a specific command. Say for example you have multiple agents and you are giving a command to more than one of them. So what sequencer does is it helps you figure out which of the agent actions to call. So let's get this too. I may not be able to go through the entire documentation. We have several tools and the documentation is quite easy to understand. So what do I need for sequencer? Okay, I need to get this line of code and then followed by this, but follow me, let's go. First we do this, yeah, and then what else? Take this to initialize. Okay, let me just copy this. So then to initialize the plugin, so within this async function, just before anything else, let's initialize. Let's push down the stuff. So what will we do next? Plugins. So you can add just one plugin or a couple of plugins. So let me just copy this part. And we have clients. Now you can actually have more than one client, just as you can have more than one plugin actually. So in this case, this direct client is the web. So I've initialized. So that's all I need to do for sequencer basically. So let's go back to setting up heartbeats. Yeah, so what do I need for heartbeats? So I need to get this too. Okay, like oh, what did I just do? Sorry, I need it here instead. And then let's initialize heartbeats. So let's do a copy and paste here. Well, I don't feel like using Telegram, so let's go with the callback method. Although you can have more than one, more than one client, Twitter, Telegram. I'm trying to look for, okay, yeah, so if you want to have multiple clients, this basically shows you how to do that. But I'm trying to use the let's copy this whole thing, remove this, can't touch this. Oh man. Give me a moment. So where are we? Okay, yeah. So I actually had to like rearrange stuff, and I didn't want to bore you with that. So we register the heartbeat in the plugin. You just copy this and add it here. So what other things do we need? Yeah, ATP. Now basically what this is, oh, I forgot to arrange this properly. So basically what this does is that every 30 seconds it's post a market update actually. So give me a moment to get ATP set up. Okay, ATP, you copy the, okay, I guess we already installed that. So now for ATP we need to add this to the env. Say that with me. Okay, I guess that's weird. So what do we need to add to the env? Wallet. And then I remember we're supposed to add OpenAI key to the env. The OpenAI key. So as we go on, this is, I guess we can also tell it specifically what ports to use. Okay, but okay, I guess it's server underscore ports. I'll check the documentation quickly, but no, before we get back to that, so we need to import this. And then as usual, initialize. Okay, are we sure we already have ATP? Okay, I guess there's a typo somewhere or something. Yeah. So let's see, what do we need next? So the next thing is to initialize, but first yeah, let me show you something quick. So the env, you set your wallet private key and your OpenAI key. This, you set this to true. I don't know if it is still needed. The reports, this is completely optional actually. So once you're done with that, let me quickly set mine. So I'm done setting it. So let's integrate this. Analyzing ATP. ATP for the ATP. Okay, and then we're adding this. Okay, so let's do that quickly. Just after this. I don't know if I have to move the rest. Okay, copy this. Yeah, and add, register it in your plugins. So you have that done. So where were we? Okay, ATP is done. Yeah. So I would like us to change this to say let's say fetch. Let's just take a cue from the ATP documentation to see what it can do. So I can say show my ATP audience. Okay, that's good. That's a good one. So I would like us to run it here. Let me open a separate. Okay, I can do pnpm run dev or dev. I just like to type dev. So about 30 seconds after it finish, setting up, we should be getting our first call. So while we wait, let's look for something else. We can ask you to show us the top ATP agents, but let's wait for 30 seconds. Give it a moment. Okay, network. Take a moment to finish running. So while we wait for the first 30 seconds, let's change the command to something else. Oh my, I need to plug in. I'm trying to wait it out. Okay, I'm trying to restart the server. I guess something went wrong, so give it a moment. Perhaps I pause the video and wait for it to load. So I guess we are back. Yeah, so after it finished loading, after like a few moments of loading, so we have this. So previously we bought a couple of Sophia agents, and this is our current active position. So let's give it a new query to handle. Let's say, okay, yeah, let's use this. Let's use this. Can't touch this. Can't touch it. Okay, so while that loads, I don't know if I need to pause the video again, because it takes a few minutes to. So okay, I guess it's downloading. Okay, still, yeah. So reason why it took long is trying to get the list of agents. So you can see it's the tax analyze the agent gets ATP top agent. Oh, I don't know. So you can see we got some Sophia. Sophia was the top agent. You see why Sophia was showing on our position later. So let's copy this. I want to perform. Yeah, so this is other agents that we have. The names, you can always get them. It's somewhere in the bottom. You should see a link. I don't know if it's sending a link to the list of it. Oh yeah, here, somewhere here. If I click this, yes, yeah, so you can see the list. So the link that was generated, you can always go to this to get a list of the top agents. So the second to the last, or the last but one query, let's say buy 5 IQ tokens from, so we can give it the agent's address, and then just wait for it. This should be much faster, but I guess my laptop is a bit slow today for some weird reasons. So okay, this is download setting up. So let's wait for it to start performing the action. So the idea is it gets to know that okay, this is the amount of token, which is 5, and then it's, I guess, it should be dispatching the action to buy token or something, ATP buy token or something. I can't remember the name of the specific action that handles buy for ATP, but yeah, you can see it. Okay, just give it a moment. I guess something went wrong, perhaps the internet connection. So instead of waiting 30 seconds before that, let's just pause a bit. Okay, so we are back. So I guess the reason why I didn't go the first time was that I didn't copy it. I didn't write the correct prompt at all, so it didn't fully get the context. But as you can see, it is actually doing its job. Yeah, it knows exactly what to do. It sends the token, control and buys, and you can actually confirm it with I see it keeps doing it. Yeah, so I guess there are too many requests, so it's considering it as a spam, so I guess that's why it stops. So let's go to the final prompt, which is where we'll begin to use sequencer actually. So instead of bombarding this every 30 seconds, which is why it stopped at some point, perhaps it's guessing maybe it's a spam or something. So let's use sequencer. So now, what do we need to do to use sequencer? So sequencer just comes in when we need to perform multiple tasks across multiple actions. Say for example, I want to say use sequencer to buy 10 IQ from the top agents. So now what this does is that it does two things. First, it checks the top agent and then have to buy 10 IQ. So it gets the top agent, gets the contracts ID from the top agent, and then calls the buy ATP action and then does that. I can actually tell it to do more, but then let's just keep it simple. Yeah, so let's restart. So while this loads, let's move to deployment. So I want to use DigitalOcean. So give it a moment to load. So while DigitalOcean loads, I added a README guide to this agents this code base, so we can actually follow through with this README guide to deploy. So in this README guide, I went through three deployment formats. One is to use PM2, the other method is to go with Docker, and then I guess I added something on Docker Compose, but then in this case we'll be using Docker actually instead of Docker Compose. Okay, so let's get started. Let's come to the very first. Actually, if you are using your terminal, you can start with this first step, but then I'm not using my terminal, so let me start with this second step. So first we log in our account. Let me check up on the sequencer action. So now let's go to the top. So I started the agents and look at this. So first of all, it's determined that it's sequencer that is supposed to take the action. So sequencer lists the possible actions and detected that it needs this buy agent and gets top agents. So what it does first is gets top agents, and it determines that Sophia is the top agent, and then it's initialized by, and then it does the buy here, and I guess it's supposed to respond something. It depends. I can't really remember. So it keeps doing it over and over and over and over and over. So let's stop it. So I'll show you where all this is reading later. So let's create a droplet. This may take a while, so you can take the opportunity to stand up from your chair to stretch actually. So I don't want to create a new project, so I have some agents examples deployed, but so I just want to add a new droplet to the list of agent examples. First you go to create droplets. This is quite easy. So let's go to the top. So let's pick, you can pick any. I just decided to choose London data center. Well, Ubuntu. I want to pick regular. What is the cheapest? $6 per hour. What else? You can switch from password to SSH. I already set up my SSH. You can set it up. It's a very straightforward thing to do. Let's change this name to brain dash and let's create a droplet. This tag is something else, but so brain droplet has been created. So waiting for it to finish loading so I can Okay, you can launch from the console. Okay, yeah, so click on the console, it opens. Okay, I guess I opened two consoles. So let's look for the okay, first you update your APT, and so while that loads, let's go to the next step on this. So you install the 9gig server or NGX, I don't know which one you pronounce it as. So after the NGX, you start and enable the NGX. Shouldn't take that long. So I guess this is done installing, so let's use this. So while that is running, let's go to GitHub so we can push our code base there. Let me check, is this still running? Okay. So I don't know why it's taking this long. Okay, I guess it's done. Yeah, copy the command for installing nginx. So while that is running, let me pause and set up the GitHub repo. So let's check if this is up. F9. Oh, sorry. I need the public one. While that is loading, so we can use the opportunity to check if the 9gig server is actually up. So, oh man, inactive. It's actually up. So while we wait for that, so let's set up the uncomplicated firewall. Okay. Yeah, let's set up the uncomplicated firewall. So while this is loading, I can done. So we allow that fully. Let's test if that works. Okay, works fine. So that's a load 9 gigs. Let's load the 9 gig server. Okay, reloaded. I'm not sure why this is showing red. Let me see. So what's the next step? Okay, yeah, let's get the git set up git. So I just did that to confirm that that is working. So we have git, so we can check with so that works. Depending on what you're working on, you can skip this step or do it. A reason being, if you're working with a private repo, it may not matter much. So, but first, let's cd to our work directory. That is cd slash variable slash www. So that will be the directory we pull into. So you get the git. So you do git clone and then the URL. The URL of the project you want to clone, and that is done. And then what else? You need to set up node. This is quite a long command. So let me do. Okay, no. This one, and then you install your node. Then with node, you can always do. So you install node, and then you can now install pnpn. Well, we technically do not need pnpn unless the fact that I anticipate you may need to do a minor adjustment here and there within the code base, so I can just say pnpn just in case we need something to be done. But then if you are not using Docker, you may or may not need pnpm depending on how you set up your Docker file or your Docker compose. Actually, that will determine whether or not you need to go through this step actually. So the next thing to do is we can set up the net tools. Well, this is some minor advanced things to control what you need to do actually. So I need to one of the main reasons why I need this net tool is just so that I can control the ports who has access. I'm giving access to SSH. I want to give access to the port 3000 so that we can have access to it on the outside. What else? I need to reload. I don't know if I need to give access to other ports actually. If you don't want to write access for SSH, you can do 22 TCP actually. It's basically the same thing. You reload and you enable. Yes. And yeah, you can check the status. Yeah, you can see they are active. So now so where are we? Okay, the 9G server is what do we need to do? Yes. So we have two options to deploy here. Either we use the PM2 route or the Docker route. The PM2 route works perfectly fine, but let me just try the Docker route actually. The Docker route it will require me to do some installations actually. So first let me cd into my project. Okay, we are installing Docker globally. We are starting Docker after that. Okay, something came into my nose. Okay. Docker, just like we did for Nginx. So because we didn't set up a compose file for Docker, so I'm doing the direct option instead of compose file. So now you can change this image name thing, but I just felt like leaving it at that for simplicity actually. And then you do this. So basically what you are doing is you are telling it to go through the name, to run it in detached mode. If you don't run it in detached mode, it means that whenever you quit your stuff, it quits. But running it in detached mode will make it run under the hood or in the background. So let that finish unpacking. We're almost done anyway. Oh man. Almost. And then yes, before that you'd create an env file, touch env, and then you can do nano env to nano.env to edit, and then when you are done you can do Ctrl X and Y, then enter. So I don't need to do that. Then you run your pnpm command in case you need something from that, but I'm just not doing this for fun actually. This pnpm command, I don't really need it actually. Oh, it failed. Oh yeah, because I didn't do pnpm install first. So this is going to install. Yeah, now I see why I needed the pnpm. So that is if I want to do the pm. Anytime I need the pnpm outside the docker file, that's when I'm running this. Because within the docker file you see that virtually everything that needs to be set up has been run. You can see it runs the pm command, it copies everything you need to do, like basically everything actually. So you don't need to go do anything so special actually. So let's give it a moment to finish running. So oh man, oh sorry, I don't know if that's built. And okay, yeah, it needs to rebuild. Yeah, okay, that's been rebuilt. Okay. Oh, so sorry. So yeah, about this. Yeah. So let me correct this. So you don't need to. You are not actually copying and pasting this directly. Let me explain a couple of things first. So you have to like put in the container ports and the host ports, so that okay. So let me fill that in. Okay. Oh. I understand what it's trying to do. It didn't finish building actually before I ran the. It didn't get some specific file that it was expecting. That was why it has been terminating. So we can always, set up the file. Where's my question? Yeah, we can always set up that file and do that. In my point of view, I may prefer to actually use compose method because I don't like setting this up manually, so I can decide to just say so this is the compose method. It's what's up. So let me see. I don't know if I made a mistake somewhere, but it's oh, okay. I think I know why. So the reason is because I didn't set up the compose file. Compose. I didn't install the compose Docker compose actually. So it doesn't understand what I'm talking about actually. So yeah. So it should run now. So 13th step. Okay. So a few more steps left. A few more steps. Okay. This may take a while. So so we are back and this is running now, so you can see that everything is good, and that brings us to the end of the tutorial. So back to this, so you can see the Nginx is working, and so you can always use BAM, ATP, the sequencer, the image gen, basically any of the plugins. You can use the multiple plugins at a time, just as you see me use it. You can also use multiple clients, and that's just it. So deploy your agent. I guess we have a manual for deployment somewhere. Okay, I'm going to consider adding the DigitalOcean guide somewhere in our repo, so you can always get to it. Can always we have a couple of examples that has been done. Actually, we have a couple of examples somewhere here in Brain. We combine AMM and the near agents plugins to create an agent, ATP agent, bridge agent, Foxland, image, GS agents, MCP agents, all those BAM agents. That is combination of all those and BAM, and the Sophia agents. We will keep releasing examples of, and coincidentally, your products may require exactly what is inside any of those agents, so you can always copy. We'll keep updating our documentation and our plugins. So if there is